Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to all of you in this presentation. And the topic of today's presentation is water injection in naturally fractured reservoir. And basically, this presentation will be covered in 3 lectures, and this will be my lecture number 7, 8, and 9 for the course PE-414. Majority of the content of this presentation have been taken from these two mentioned references, and these references along with this presentation and the recorded lectures have been uploaded on the Google Classroom. As per book definition, a naturally fractured reservoir is defined as being fractured only if a continuous network of various degrees of fracturing is distributed throughout the reservoir. Such fractures are formed naturally during specific geological circumstances of the reservoir history. So as per book definition, the reservoir which has the continuous network of fracturing throughout the reservoir is called a naturally fractured reservoir. And obviously, because of the tectonic activities, these fractures have been developed in the formation, and if the fractures are continuous, you can take production from such reservoirs. So naturally fractured reservoirs generally are limestone or dolomite, because generally they do have they are basically brittle material. So because of this increase in stresses, they rupture, and because of the rupturing, you have the fractures in the carbonates. Obviously, if you induce fracture by yourself through stimulation, that will not make that reservoir a naturally fractured reservoir, because the stimulation are done in a well and do have some limitation. So it cannot extend to the whole reservoir. So that is why the stimulation basically will not make the reservoir the fractured reservoir. So for a naturally fractured reservoir, the network of fracture should be present throughout the reservoir. And we know that basically in naturally fractured reservoir there are two systems. One is called the matrix, and another is called the fracture. And because of that, these reservoirs are also called the dual porosity reservoir. And we know that majority of the fluid is stored in the matrix, and fractures provide the path for that fluid to flow from reservoir towards the production well. So the fracture has very high permeability as compared to the matrix. Matrix has very low permeability but has very high porosity. And it is said that if fractures are not present in carbonates, carbonates generally do not produce, because the original or the primary permeability of the carbonates are very low. So if fractures are not present in carbonates, the production from the carbonates are generally not possible. So these fractures are very important, because of these fractures we have high production from the carbonate reservoir, and the carbonate reservoirs are present in Middle East and in North Sea, and basically we are getting very high production from such reservoir. And basically there are various things through which we can identify these fractures in a naturally fractured reservoir while drilling. If we have significant mud losses, and through the pressure transit analysis or core analysis, we can identify the fractures in a naturally fractured reservoir. And basically this is a graphical representation. So we have the matrix, which basically store majority of the hydrocarbon but has low permeability, the matrix permeability, and the fractures which have been created through some geological activity has very high permeability. And basically these real reservoirs are represented through this ideal or the model reservoir, where you have the network of fractures surrounded to your matrix. So the majority of the fluids are in the matrix. These are the matrix block, and these matrix block have been surrounded by the fracture. So this is a basically representation of your real reservoir, and we will be seeing the water injection in NFR through this model reservoir. Again, this fracture has very high permeability as compared to the matrix permeability, but these fractures have very low porosity as compared to the matrix porosity. So the fluid the hydrocarbons will flow out of the matrix into the fractures, and the fractures will take hydrocarbons towards the production well. And for a good reservoir, these fractures should be connected to each other and should have a very good network. When we take production from a reservoir, we know that because of the production, pressure of the reservoir decreases, and because of the decrease in pressure, the decrease in production rate will take place. So in order to maintain the production rate, we want to inject some fluid inside the reservoir to maintain the reservoir pressure and to displace hydrocarbons towards the production well. So historically, we know that we generally inject water or gas inside the reservoir, and basically we can inject water or gas to maintain the pressure and to drive hydrocarbons towards the production well. In naturally fractured reservoir, basically it has been observed that water injection is the most important method for oil recovery. Generally it is said that if you inject water in a fractured reservoir, water will flow through the fractures and will basically reach to your production well earlier as compared to conventional reservoir, but it is not the case. So we will see in the coming slide that generally the breakthrough of water in naturally fractured reservoir is lower as compared to the conventional case. Obviously there are some parameters to understand. We will see it in the coming slide. So water injection is one of the most important methods for oil recovery from the fractured reservoir, and oil recovery by water injection in water-wet reservoir is mainly controlled by spontaneous capillary imbibition. So basically we know that there are two processes, one is called imbibition and the other is called drainage process. In imbibition process, basically the saturation of the wetting phase increases in the matrix. So when your non-wetting phase is displaced by a wetting phase, the process is called imbibition, which means in other words the saturation of the wetting phase is increasing in the matrix. And obviously when you are injecting water from the injection well, and if the matrix is water wet, so water will get absorbed in the matrix and the process is called imbibition. And for example, consider a case when you are injecting gas to displace oil. So gas is the non-wetting for the matrix, so the process will be called as a drainage process. So depending upon what you are injecting and depending upon the wettability of the rock, the process will be either imbibition or the drainage process. So it has been observed that water injection in water wet reservoir is basically important and useful for enhancing oil recovery, because the imbibition, the absorption or the intake of the matrix of the wetting fluid is basically important in releasing your hydrocarbon. However, for oil wet and mixed wet system, the water uptake by capillary force is quite limited, resulting in lower oil recovery. So for oil wet and mixed wet reservoir, if you inject water, obviously this water will not be absorbed by the matrix, so the capillary imbibition will not be here, and water will not spontaneously imbibe by your matrix solid. So because of the affinity of your matrix with the injected fluid, so, for example in this case when you are injecting water and the matrix is oil wet, you do not have any affinity between your injected fluid and matrix, so basically water will not be imbibed by your solid matrix, and basically reservoir wants to keep the hydrocarbon, so the recovery is lower for oil and mixed wet system if you are injecting water. So depending upon the wettability, water injection will be successful or not. Generally is the case. So when you have the oil wet case, you would love to reduce the interfacial tension, and you would love to change the wettability of your reservoir towards a more water wet preference that will ultimately enhance your oil recovery, because now the tendency of your matrix to retain the hydrocarbon will reduce. So since you are changing the wettability of the rock from oil wet to water wet, water will now imbibe into your matrix, and hydrocarbons will be produced. Now it is mentioned that more water wet conditions give higher oil recovery. So basically water injection is generally done in an NFR for the water wet reservoirs, and most of the reservoirs are water wet. And if not, if reservoirs are not water wet, and if they are oil wet or mixed wet reservoirs, you basically try to change the wettability towards the more water wet system. This is the graphical representation of a water injection in a water wet reservoir, and as you can see that water is flowing through the fractures, and since the matrix of the reservoir is water wet, water is being imbibed into the matrix, and as water is being imbibed into the matrix, the oil is being released into the fracture, and oil is flowing through the fractures towards the production well. So in water wet reservoir, water has an affinity with your matrix, so spontaneous imbibition, the displacement of hydrocarbons via wetting phase, which is called imbibition. So in this case, water is being imbibed into the matrix, the solid surface, because of the preference of the matrix to imbibe the wetting phase, and hydrocarbon is being released. The matrix would love to absorb the water flowing through the fracture. So because of this imbibition, hydrocarbons are being released, and water is not flowing at a very high rate as expected in a NFR, that water will flow quicker through the fractures. And at the fracture matrix interface, you will have basically a counter current phenomena. We will see this phenomena in the coming slide. And the counter current phenomena is that water is being imbibed inside the matrix, and the oil is being released to the fractures, and the direction of both fluids are opposite to each other. Water is going inside and hydrocarbon is being coming outside. So this is called counter current. So at the interface of matrix and fracture, you have the counter current phenomena, and because of the imbibition, you have the recovery of oil from this NFR. Obviously, if the matrix is oil wet or mixed wet, this water will not be imbibed into the matrix, and obviously water will flow quicker and will reach to the production well earlier as compared to the water wet case. So that is why it is written that basically generally the water wet reservoirs gives higher oil recovery in NFR, because the movement of water is restricted in a water wet reservoir as compared to oil wet reservoir. In oil wet reservoir, obviously you have to do something to make water movement inside the matrix and force oil out towards the fractures. You can reduce the interfacial tension or the change the wettability of the reservoir to make this oil flow towards the fractures and production well. And generally, basically, before applying any water injection or gas injection or chemical injection method, we have to understand the displacement process in a fracture reservoir, and basically this displacement process is understood through these capillary pressure curves. And the wettability of the reservoir basically is guessed through these processes, and one is called drainage process, another is called imbibition process. And we know that in drainage process, we basically displace water by an unwetting phase, generally oil or gas, and basically we increase pressure, and with increase in pressure, as you can see, that saturation of water is decreasing, and ultimately we reach to the minimum saturation of water, that is called the cumulative water saturation. And once we have established the cumulative water saturation through drainage process, we basically again increase the saturation of water. So now, depending upon the wettability of your rock, either we will have complete spontaneous imbibition, or we have the combination of spontaneous and forced imbibition, or we have only the forced imbibition, as can be seen over this figure. If we have a strong water wet reservoir, majority of the hydrocarbons will be recovered through the spontaneous imbibition only, and and basically a slight hydrocarbon will be recovered through forced imbibition. If we have a mixed wet reservoir, so some of the oil will be produced through spontaneous imbibition, and some of the oil will be produced through the forced imbibition. And if we have the oil wet reservoir, you can see a little oil will be produced through the spontaneous imbibition, and basically we have to force oil out from the matrix into the fracture to produce that oil. So majority of the hydrocarbon can only be recovered through the forced imbibition. So that's how we use this capillary pressure curve to predict the effectiveness of a water injection in an naturally fractured reservoir. So basically, as mentioned over here, that in order to evaluate a displacement process in fractured reservoir, it is necessary to know the relationship of capillary pressure and relative permeability versus saturation. This relationship behaves as a function of saturation history, which is basically indicated by two types of behavior: drainage and imbibition. As mentioned, that in drainage process, the saturation of water is being decreased by increasing the saturation of the hydrocarbon, and in the imbibition process, basically the saturation of water is increased by either spontaneous imbibition or the forced imbibition. So basically, imbibition process will indicate the water flooding process or the water injection in the reservoir, and drainage process, basically this process helps us to estimate the initial water saturation in the reservoir. So drainage applies to the displacement processes in which the wetting phase saturation in the matrix block decreases, and imbibition applies to all the processes where wetting phase saturation inside the matrix increases. So for example, if we are injecting gas for the oil recovery, and we know that gas is non-wetting as for our reservoir, so the displacement of oil by the gas will be represented through the drainage process, and displacement of oil by water will be represented through the imbibition process. And obviously we know that if we have the strong water wet reservoir, we have spontaneous imbibition, and for mixed wet reservoir we have both spontaneous and forced imbibition, and for oil wet reservoir we only have the forced imbibition. So forced imbibition can be treated or can be seen as a drainage process, because in forced imbibition basically we are forcing oil out of the core, and basically in forced imbibition we are increasing the capillary pressure in obviously in a negative term. So basically the forced imbibition process is just like a drainage process, because forced imbibition is done in an oil wet reservoir. So basically in oil wet reservoir the wetting phase is oil and water becomes the non-wetting phase. So when you are increasing the saturation of water inside the reservoir and the reservoir is oil wet, so the process will become the drainage process. So forced imbibition basically is a representative of a drainage process. So when you are injecting gas in an oil reservoir, it will be a drainage process, and when you are injecting water in a oil wet reservoir, that process will also be called as a drainage process or the forced imbibition process. So basically these curves will help us to understand the wettability of the reservoir, and through these curves basically we will understand whether water injection will be effective or not. And basically we have seen this figure that, for example, if we are injecting water and water is the wetting phase, so water will be spontaneously imbibed inside the reservoir and will basically release oil for the production. But if water is a non-wetting phase, we have to force this water inside the matrix to produce oil. So that will be a drainage process or the forced imbibition process. And basically we will see that forced imbibition process requires either the Darcy forces and the difference of density between water and oil. In fact, in the lab we can measure the wettability of the reservoir, and when we know that contact angle is less than 49 degree, our reservoir is water wet, and the spontaneous imbibition will be dominant. And when basically the contact angle is between 49 degree and 73 degree, our reservoir is mixed wet, and in this basically mixed wet reservoir we will have a limited spontaneous imbibition. And when the contact angle is greater than 73 degree, we will not have any spontaneous imbibition, we will only have the forced imbibition, which is like a drainage process. So wettability of the reservoir basically is very important to determine whether the water injection will be successful or not. And if basically reservoir is not water wet, we have to do efforts to change the wettability to water wet, because if water is very cheaper and we really want water to get spontaneously imbibed inside the matrix and release hydrocarbons. In water wet fractured reservoir, the capillary pressure contrast between the fracture and the matrix media provides a main driving force for water imbibition. Flow between matrix block and the fracture is controlled mainly by the capillary imbibition, and the gravity forces through other forces such as expansion, diffusion and viscous forces may also influence the recovery processes depending upon the pressure, temperature and the composition of the fluids involved in the process. The shape and size of the matrix block and the inclination of fractures also affect recovery of oil by water flooding. So in NFR, the main driving factor is the imbibition of water inside the matrix. Basically in NFR, since we have a network of fracture, the injected water will spread in the reservoir through the fractures and basically will contact the solid of the reservoir with a greater area. And if the matrix have the affinity with your water in the fractures, the water will imbibe inside the matrix and will release the oil to the fractures for the production. Obviously the size of the matrix, the type of the fractures, the inclination of fractures, and obviously the contact area of your matrix and the fracture will determine the effectiveness of the water flooding in NFR. Apart from it, the water injection rate, we will see that water injection rate is also very important in deciding whether you will have a high recovery or low recovery. So the main driving factor basically is the imbibition of your water from the fractures inside the inside the matrix. So other factors are also very important. So in fractured reservoir, the capillary imbibition is the main mechanism for the oil recovery during water flooding. This is partly related to the fact that many of the fractured reservoirs found today are water wet. However, for oil wet and mixed wet reservoir, the water uptake by capillary forces is quite limited, resulting in lower oil recovery. So obviously when you have the oil wet or the mixed wet reservoir, water will not have affinity with the matrix and will not rise in the solid and you will have the lower oil recovery. And obviously, as mentioned in the previous slide, that it depends on the size of the matrix block. So the capillary imbibition is the most effective for a small block size, and basically we will see that the smaller the block size, higher you will have recovery. And smaller block size means that you have a larger contact between your matrix and the fractures. So if you have a larger contact between your matrix and the fractures, you will have the high recovery, because the imbibition will now be great. Water will be imbibing into the matrix from all sides and oil will be releasing into the fractures. Similarly, basically if the density difference between oil and water is appreciable, you will have the gravity segregation and you will have higher recovery because of this gravity segregation. So in imbibition you will have two processes for the oil recovery. One is called the capillarity, the suction of water because of the affinity of the matrix with water, which is called the capillarity. Another is called the gravity, and gravity basically the production of oil because of a difference between oil and water. So in the presence of oil and water, water will be remain inside the matrix and oil will be forced out of the matrix into the fractures. So gravity also plays an important role during the imbibition of water inside the matrix. Obviously this effect will be great when you have a large density difference between oil and water. Obviously, as we have seen that in a fractured reservoir subjected to a water injection, the fractured network does not become flooded all at once. The fractured water level has an advancing behavior, because we know that if you are injecting water from in a NFR, water basically is imbibing into the matrix, and because of that imbibition of water inside the matrix, water basically is moving slowly through the reservoir, and you have the later breakthrough of the water in the production well. So water basically movement has an advancing behavior. Slowly and gradually water will rise. If you are generally injecting water in the aquifer, so water level will rise gradually and will basically spread through the fractures and will imbibe into the matrix, and once the imbibition in the lower zones have completed, this water will move up to the new zones. And the oil production rate from naturally fractured reservoir also depends on the water injection rate, initial water saturation, and the matrix wettability. And basically we have seen the effect of matrix wettability, water injection rate. So if you are injecting water at a slower rates, this will allow a good contact of your water with your matrix. And now, since you have more contact of water with your matrix, which means you will have a stronger capillary imbibition. With stronger capillary imbibition, more and more water will be absorbed by your matrix, which means more hydrocarbons will be released by your matrix, and you will have the higher production and recovery. So slower rate injection is recommended in a naturally fractured reservoir. As mentioned over here, that with increased injection rate, water breakthrough occurs earlier, and the portion of oil that is recovered by counter current imbibition increases. We will see that what is the difference between co-current and the counter current imbibition. But generally, with increasing injection rate, you will have an early breakthrough of water. The higher injection rate resulted in a higher velocity of the fracture water level and less time for oil production from the block before it was immersed in water. So when you are injecting water, water will flow quicker through the fractures, and basically you have a less contact of water with your matrix, and when you have less contact of water and matrix, you will have less imbibition, and basically because of less imbibition you will have low oil production. And basically it is also written that once you start injecting water at a higher rate, your matrix will soon be surrounded with the waters, and you will have a counter current imbibition, and we will see that counter current imbibition basically gives you lower recovery as compared to co-current cases. So at higher injection rate you will have the counter current imbibition, and it is not good for your oil recovery. So despite more contact area in counter current imbibition, co-current flow is more efficient than counter current flow. So there are various factors to basically consider before designing or selecting water injection for naturally fractured reservoir. The first important thing is the wettability, and once you have decided that you are going to inject water in this water wet NFR, you have to select a proper injection rate. Considering a dip fractured reservoir as shown over here, generally we inject gas in the gas cap zone, and because of the injection of gas in the gas cap zone, or maybe the encroachment of gas that is coming from the oil zone, this gas cap volume expand, and with time you have the larger volume in the gas cap, so the contacts will change over time. Same thing can happen for the water case, and because of the encroachment of water from the aquifer, or maybe by injecting water in the aquifer zone, the water will encroach in the reservoir and the oil water level changes over time. So basically because of the either of the gas cap expansion or because of the oil invasion, you have different processes happening in a reservoir at a given time. For example, considering this gas invaded zone, in the gas invaded zone basically you have the displacement of oil by gas, which is basically a drainage process. So in the gas cap zone, where gas basically is encroaching into the reservoir, which is the oil zone. So in the gas invaded zone, basically you have the drainage process, because now hydrocarbon, the oil is being displaced by a non-wetting phase, which is the gas phase, and this is called the gravity mechanism, because the oil is being produced because of the density difference between gas and oil. In the invaded zone, in the water invaded zone, you will have the imbibition, because now the wetting phase, which is water, is being invaded into the zone which was occupied by non-wetting phase. So the displacement of oil by the water basically is imbibition. So in the water invaded zone you will have the imbibition, and because and depending upon the level of water in the matrix, you will have the different dominant mechanism. For example, when the water level is below the water level in the fracture, the water level in the matrix is lower as compared to the water level in the fracture, you will have the dominant phenomena is the capillary. And when the water level in the matrix is higher than the water level in the fracture, you have the capillary gravity phenomena. So depending upon the level of water in the matrix as compared to the level of water in fracture, you will have a different and dominated mechanism, which we will see in the coming slides. So these are basically things that have been shown over here, that in gas invaded zone you have the gravity drainage, and basically in the water invaded zone you either have the capillary imbibition and the gravity inhibition. And 7 and 9 case basically are the cases where you have the gravity and inhibition present. So these two processes are important for us when basically in the matrix block you have water, in the fractures you have water, and the wetting phase in the matrix is water. So this process will be represented through the imbibition process. And when the matrix contains the oil and the fracture contains the gas, and the wetting phase in the matrix is oil, so this is the drainage process. So imbibition and drainage process, the process number 1 and 3 which are important to us, and we will be discussing this 1 and 3 process in the coming slides. Obviously the other processes are not so important to us. For example, if the matrix contain the gas and fracture contain the water, basically this will be again imbibition, so it will be more like the first process. And if matrix contain oil and fracture contain water and the wetting phase is oil, it will be a drainage process, which will be seen through the forced imbibition process. So basically for right now 1 and 3 are important to us, and if we understand 1 and 3, we can basically understand the other two processes, 2 and 4. 5th and 6th basically are not so important to us, because we are not interested in displacing water by oil or the gas. So basically 5th and 6th processes are not for the reservoir production, and as mentioned over here that these two processes are for the reservoir migration, which is basically done to understand or to calculate the initial water saturation only. So 5th and 6th are not important to us, and 1 and 3 are the important processes to us for right now. Matrix fracture fluid exchange, basically the matrix fracture fluid exchange depends on reservoir rock and fluid characteristics, fluid types and saturation in matrix, fluid types and saturation in fractures, and the driving force, whether you have the gravity and or capillarity. And we will see all these parameters in the coming slides. That's all from my side for the lecture number 7.